I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me.
Hi everybody, Ron here from The Truth About Addiction. Today's episode, we have the #1 real estate agent in the entire McGrath Network across Australia, Mat Steinwede. Matt, welcome to The Truth About Addiction, mate.
Hey, Ronnie. Thanks, mate. It's good to be on here.
Honestly, your story of success, integrity, and what it takes to get yourself out of the underbelly of the King's Cross, homelessness, drug addiction, not many people come out of there, Matt. And when they do, they stay on the dole and they become victims. And that hasn't been your story at all, mate. So could you give us a welcome and tell us about Mat Steinwede, what you do today? And
yeah, give you a quick rundown. You know, it's funny when you say it, people stay on the dole and do whatever. Like when I grew up at Maroubra, and I used to surf there until I was about, just turned 18. When I was at the beach, the ultimate achievement was to be on the dole and surf every day. You're a legend if you could do that.
Yeah.
So that was what we'd all strive for to do. But and then a girl came up to me one day and said, "Matt, come party in Oxford Street this weekend." And I'd only ever been at Maroubra. I hadn't gone anywhere. We didn't. Back then it was a pretty poor town. You just hung out at Maroubra Seals if you went anywhere. I said to Tanya, "I don't even know where Oxford Street is." She goes, "I've been going in the last few weeks. It's unreal. Come in." So I went in and we, had a few pills, and then we were best night of my life. And I said to Tanya, I was laying in the medium strip in the middle of Oxford Street at like 3 a.m. between Byblos and DCM. Like as you go down, Byblos finished and you go down to DCM and go party down there till the morning. But I was laying in the middle of the strip, this medium strip, and I said to Tanya, and she's laying there looking up at the stars, and I said, "Oh, this is the best night of my life. I'm never going to go back to the beach." And I didn't. I just started hanging out in there and partying in there and got to know more people. But in that whole scene, Ronnie, the thing that I noticed most, because I didn't have, we all got stories, we've all got someone that didn't care for us, that didn't do this or didn't do that. But my parents just didn't know where I was, what I was doing my whole life, as a kid. And because the beach sort of took care of you. And there was an older guy called Hair Bear, and he was like our dad in a way. Like he was a professor, funny enough, and he had this big long dreadlocks. We used to say, "I can't believe Hair Bear's a professor. Wow, that's amazing." We didn't even know what one was, but he was like this cool surfer dude, quite a bit older than us, but he was like the guy you'd go to if you needed advice. So anyway, I started partying in there, but you know what I saw? We were talking about, before we got on, we were talking about some of the old people in there, but I saw the most connected people were the most feared. And you didn't have to be big, like you didn't have to be the big, juice junkies or anything like that, or the hitmen or this or that. You just had to be connected. And I used to watch them in there and I'd be like, I just want to be one of those people. So I partied. And I used to go really early so I can get into the clubs and get to the bouncers could see me. Because, remember how big the lines were, Ronnie? Like all the way down kilometres.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
And if you go in one side, so all the line was this way, whether it was Byblos or DCM. But if you go on the other side, it's because the bouncer knew you and you could just walk straight in. So as I got to know like lots of the bouncers better, they let me in that side after a while. So I'd go early and get in that side and then just party hard. And I went from snorting drugs to injecting drugs, and then got more and more connected in there and more noticed, and got a job as a bouncer. And I went to City Gym one day, a gay guy called Stephen Scott. I got to know him pretty well in the scene. I think he just wanted to, abuse me, but I was just an 18-year-old surfer kid. Anyway, he became like my best friend in there. He goes, "Come down to City Gym and train with me." And I'm like, "Where's City Gym?" He goes, "Down here." And, it's 24-hour gym back then you just never heard of. So we go train it. So the first time I went there was like in the Arvo, and it was pumping so hard. It was like boom, boom, boom. And all the, the men are in hot pants and the girls are in hot pants. And I said, "How come they're so big?" Like I was this like lanky surfer kid. And he goes, "Steroids." And I'm like, "What's steroids?" And he goes, "Do you want some?" And I said, "Yeah." And so he got me a couple of bottles of Anapolon or something at the time. And I started taking that, got bigger and bigger and bigger. And that was like where the runaway train started, I just started training there, got to know more people, got deeper and deeper into the drug world. My habit went through the roof. And then I just started doing whatever just to get more and more accepted.
But you're a miracle, because a lot of the people we talked about earlier on, Damien had a heart attack.
Yeah.
On roids. Most of them are dead. All the doormen from the Home. Remember Home?
Yeah, Home. Yeah, absolutely.
All those guys ran home. All the bouncers were sort of working for us.
Yeah.
We sort of owned the security system that
All right.
ran the whole system.
Did you?
Working for us, and then we had up there at the tunnel. We had young John sort of pull
Yeah.
the strings, and he'd ring me up and he'd say, "Come to the club," and because I don't drink and I've been clean for 40 years, and I'd say, "No, mate." And he'd say, "Oh, we've got the Playboy party on." I'd say, "Okay, I'll be there in 20 minutes," and I'd come up there and they'd leave a parking spot out the front. But what you're saying was who was connected.
Yeah.
You had to be connected. Even at City Gym, I remember walking on the treadmill one morning. I used to walk on the treadmill in the morning, do my cardio, and go back in the afternoon and do my weights with Damien, because Damien was getting ready for the Mr. Australia competition, and Paul Haslam was teaching both of us, really. I was walking on the treadmill one day and I looked at the girl and I thought, I sort of know her face. She had some tattoos on her and that. It was Sporty Spice.
Really?
Yeah, the Spice Girl. And she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
wow, I love the tattoo." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, cool." And I didn't realise it was her until I'd walked away. And I thought, shit, the people that would turn up there were out of control.
Amazing. It was amazing. Yeah. I don't think there'll ever be a gym like it ever again.
Yeah, it was a fun time. There was an underbelly and there was a seediness to it, but it didn't start off like that. It started off as exciting and this incredible acceptance that we found our crowd. This is our crew, and we fit it in, and we fit it in. Yeah.
I used to love there there was this big box full of tire tube cutouts, like squares. You'd put them in your hand. I used to love it. It's like, anyway, so good. I ended up getting to about 130 kilos, just full of gear, and not, I wasn't disciplined or anything. I was just partying and doing that. And then, so after a while, some people I ended up working for later, I was minding prostitutes on Canterbury Road, and then I wasn't a fighter or anything. I was just big, really. And then they said to me, and it's funny, sliding door moments in life, you just never know. So they rang me up one day, and this is a few years later, and they said, "We're going to open another brothel. Can you go up to Terrigal and go look for some girls to work in the brothel?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll go up there." And that's good, Jack. And then I went to Terrigal, and they arranged for me to meet the bikers up there. And I went to the nightclub, and that night changed my life. It changed. It was the dividing moment for my life. And a guy knew the bikers up there. He wasn't a biker, but he was like friends with them, used to ride with them and stuff. And his name was Dino, this big, tall guy, way taller than me. I'm 6'4", and he's way bigger than me. We got on real well. And then a girl came up in the night, and her name was Karina, and it was her 18th birthday. And she come and said hello to Dino. I'm like, wow, she's pretty good looking. So I got her number. And I asked for a number at the end of the night because we didn't have Instagram or anything back then.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And fortunately, she wrote it down. But a couple of weeks later, she said to me, "You know what the bouncer said when I was writing the number down?" Because she went out to write it down. I was like, "No, what's that?" He grabbed me and said, "I hope you're not going to give that guy your number." And she said, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was just going to write it down." He said, "Please, no, whatever you do, don't. And please don't say I said anything, because he's the sort of guy that makes people disappear." Now, this is her first night ever in a nightclub, 18th birthday. She did, though. And her number, 0414852200, she gave it to me. I went back to Sydney. Everything fell apart. I was very hot. I was under surveillance. And some of the Islander guys told me on the doors, that I was working with and stuff, and Big Ray and that, they said, "Mate, you're hot. You need to go. You can't keep doing what you're doing." And I wasn't a very good drug dealer. I used to do a lot of things, but my habit was so bad. I'd always be injecting speed every day. I'd probably go through, I don't know exactly, maybe half an ounce to maybe more of speed a day. But then I'd get on the coke probably when you go out on a Friday or Saturday, and then I'd stay on the coke for a couple of days. It wouldn't be unusual, go through an ounce or more. And then just lock myself in a room, watch porn for days on end. And, even if I was with girls, I wasn't interested in them. I was absorbed in this porn. And I was being, injecting until Monday, Tuesday. And then Wednesday was sleep day, Sugar Reef Tuesday, Wednesday, sleep day, and then back on it again. And then, but that sort of turned into my life. Everyone just moved away from me. I couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do nothing. I owed a lot of people money. I want to say a lot of people, a couple of people money, but there were people that I sort of worked for. Turned into a big mess. So I ended up actually, when people say I was homeless, I I ended up living in this abandoned building in Camperdown. And Camperdown wasn't a place I hung out in, but I met this Asian guy that sort of used to live in this terrace next to it. And then he took off sometime, and then I just ended up climbing in and out of the window there for about 6 months or more. I don't know. It got so bad, Ronnie, I couldn't even buy food. I was like starving, and I was just trying to support my habit. There was no furniture, nothing in the house. I used to sleep on the floor. But the undercover cops used to do things and play with my mind a bit. They used to knock on the door middle of the night, pretending to be drunk. Like this guy was real drunk, and he's like, "Where? Do you know where?" This is like, 1 a.m. or something. I was always up. I hardly slept. And the door opened onto the footpath, and I opened up, and he's like, "Do you know where the hospital is?" I said, "Mate, I've got no idea." And he goes, "We know what you're doing. We're watching you." And it spun me out, like fully spun me out, because I was in a really low place at that time. Not long after that, I sort of rang a guy that I met partying. No one else would come near me for anything. So I said to him, "Can you just buy me some Vegemite and bread? I'm starving, literally. I don't have anything." Because I didn't have ID. I didn't have nothing. So he did. And after that, I rang Dino, who I stayed in contact with, and I said, "Can you come pick me up? I'm going to be dead or in jail any day. I can feel it." Because I knew the people were after me. I knew the cops were after me. So he drove down from Terrigal, picked me up. I literally left with what I was wearing. I don't know if you remember the old Bear pants. As Bear, they were called, a label, and they were gym pants. They were like baggy, and used to roll them up to you almost just under your knees. Yeah. And a Bond singlet, pair of Timberlands. I just left with that. And Dino took me up and put me out the back of his parents' house for about 9 months. And lots happened in this time. And then after about 9 months, I was still injecting drugs, whatever I could get my hands on. And I thought, I've got to do something with my life. And I rang an ex-girlfriend, Lisa, and I said to Lisa, "I'm in a bit of trouble." She's like, "Bit of trouble?" She was in that party scene down there. I hadn't seen her for quite a while. And she goes, "You've got people looking for you everywhere down here, and you've left the biggest mess." And I said, "What should I do?" And she goes, "Why don't you get into real estate?" So I just literally grabbed the yellow pages. I thought, great idea. I didn't even know what it was. And I rang everyone in there. And after a few weeks, just one lady said, "Come in and meet with me." And I did. It was a place called Killarney Vale. And then she said, "You can have a job here, and I just want you to door knock every day." And I said to her, "Well, before I start, I've got to let you know, I don't have a car. I don't have any clothes. I've got these. I used to wash them every couple of days. And I don't have a home because Dino's parents wanted me out of there." She said, "That's fine. You can walk. Dino can buy you a couple of pairs of pants and stuff, and you can live in a caravan on my property, and you can do that." So I used to walk the streets all day, every day, knocking on doors, morning till night, just asking people if they want to sell their house. Then I got a job offered across the road a year later. I found a lot of leads doing that. Long story, I'll cut it real short. Went across the road, got offered another job a year later, went there. Because in Killarney Vale, there's just a group of shops this side and nothing on this side where she was, just like a home office. So I thought, it's probably better on that side of the road. So I did that. And then I got engaged to Karina by this time. I was renting a room off this old lady, friends of her family. Got the bus home, still didn't have a car, a year and something later. Got the bus home to Tina's house one day. I walk in at 7:30 at night. She's watching TV in a nightie like she always did, with a cat on her lap and right up against the TV. She was like in her 80s, real loud. She couldn't hear properly. And the phone rings just as I walk in, like bling, bling. I pick it up and the guy goes, "Hey, Matt, it's Ray from the fish and chip shop." And I'm like, huh? How'd you get this number? He was an ex-heroin dealer from the Cross. I think he was in hiding as well. And we used to talk all the time. And he was on methadone, so he's got that, "Hey, Matt, Matt." So anyway, and he had all the sores all over his skin as well, those ones? Yeah. And he goes, "Don't worry about that, mate." Because I said, "How'd you get the number?" He goes, "Don't worry about that, mate." He goes, "You've just been on Australia's Most Wanted." That show that used to be on. Yes. Yeah. So anyway, Karina's whole family were watching it. They're all Mormons. And up I pop, 6 kids, parents. Dad turns up on the doorstep literally 5 minutes later. Went back to Sydney, handed myself in, got arrested. I had quite a few warrants out for my arrest. And then went to court not long after. Karina's mum testified, the old lady testified. And then at the end, the judge said to me, she goes, "Matt, you should be going to jail because I had grievous bodily harm, malicious wounding. I had like quite a few things like that. No drug ones though." And I think that's what they were waiting to get me on. Because I ended up such a gutter drug addict, I think I let them down. I didn't really, I wasn't doing what I was doing really, just trying to survive. She said, "I see some good in you. I'm going to give you a second chance. But if you come back in here again, you'll go away for half of your life." And I remember it was a lady judge. She looked straight in the eyes. looked at me straight in the eyes. And I had to do community service for quite a while. It took me 8 years to pay back all the fines that she gave me. But I walked out of the courtroom and I rang Dino on Karina's phone because she gave me her phone when I got into real estate. That's how I know the number still, because I've still got the same number. And I said, Dino, I'm going to make you a promise. I'm going to become Australia's #1 agent. And ever since then, I've never looked back.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's beautiful. But yeah, mate, the methadone mumbles. Man, mate. Yeah.
That's it.
Wow. It's so, mate, it's really, really nice to hear you talk. When I first come across you, and because my granddaughter wanted to be a real estate agent, I have friends who are real estate agents. 94, I came up the Sunshine Coast, did a subdivision and started doing residential, and all the laws changed on residential. They became so hard, you can't kick tenants out, you can't do this.
Yeah.
So we went into commercial.
Yeah.
Because a lot less maintenance, you can make a lot more money.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. In a shorter period of time, you can improve the rent, upscale the quality of tenant, and the value is equivalent to the rental upgrade, and as you know the story. So we went into that, but yeah, mate, look, to me, our addiction is what drove us so badly. I ended up the same as you, gutter junkie. I didn't start that way. I started off in a penthouse driving a GD Falcon. I was a gangster, and I was a criminal before I was a junkie, and then I became a junkie, and then the criminal world banned me.
Yeah.
Because I became a liability.
Yeah.
They're like, mate, you're a junkie. You can't be trusted anymore. Even the coppers said to me one day, they pinched me up the cross and said, we used to be scared of you. You were a really respected criminal. Now we just go to the diplomat, which was the chemist up the cross. We just go to the diplomat and wait for you to come.
It's so true, mate. It's funny where you grew up there in the cross. That was where the real hard people were. Oxford Street was the party scene. Where you were was, and we used to go up there to EP1 and all those sorts of things. But it was more like up there was the strip back then. Like that's where all the hardened criminals were.
Yeah. And the cauldron was up there.
Yeah, the cauldron. Yeah.
Yeah. And the guy that owned that, he ended up by dying too. I forget Charles. He used to call himself Charles.
Oh yeah.
All them people, like Peter Kay, he was a really nice guy, ended up by hanging himself, like there's no glorification in drug use.
None. My son killed himself 2 years ago, and
sorry,
pro surfer, junior pro surfer, amazing looking kid. It was actually Karina. Karina and I had 4 kids, and I've been married 3 times. I got 7 kids, and so Logan was 20. He killed himself 2 years ago, and but why I'm saying that is he hung himself. But when COVID came, which is a whole nother conversation altogether, but when COVID came, he totally lost his way. Because he was an athlete, he didn't drink, do nothing. But then when he had nothing to focus on, started drinking, drugging. 2 years, Ronnie, 2 years, runaway train, and then ended up hanging himself. So I know what you're saying. Yeah.
That's, my little brother was on the speed, and some friend gave him 120 mil of dome to level him out. He drank the dome, went to sleep, and never woke up.
Yeah. Wow.
That happened while I was in prison. My sister drank herself to death on the Central Coast.
Really?
And she was taking endone and drinking with her sons. So this disease doesn't discriminate,
No, it doesn't. That's exactly right. And it's all, I think a lot of the people these days, Ronnie, and I hope you don't mind me jumping in here, but a lot of people think, a few drinks, few this, few that, I've got a 14-year-old daughter. She started smoking pot periodically, and I'm like, it's hard because they don't listen. You got to sort of experience it yourself to get yourself off of it. And I get a lot of calls from people who got kids on drugs and stuff like that, a lot, because a lot of them know about Logan. He was very well known. And unless they want to, they won't stop running.
100%.
You got to want to, and they all think it's fun. Few lines here, few this, that, and the drugs these days are not what we had back then. You don't know what the hell is in them.
Yeah. Well, the sad part is what you said then, it's changed.
Yeah.
It's become a really violent, horrible, and a lot of the people that are dealing drugs aren't junkies. I started dealing drugs because I was a junkie.
Yeah.
I had to deal drugs to pay for my habit.
Same.
That's why I just became such a, and I was a criminal and all that sort of stuff. I had no regard or respect for the system. And today it's just, then this new drug ice, it's just horrible. I know old crims that have been drug dealers their whole life won't touch ice. They won't sell it. They won't even sell it. Yeah, mate, no, that's the devil's drug. We're not touching that shit. And these guys will sell their mother for $10.
100%. You get like that. Like I just went and got my full mouth reconstruction a couple of months ago. all my teeth fell out because of the drugs. You can't see it. I've got veneers on here now, but all these ones, I've got all these implants now back here. Mate, if I just took care of my teeth. But anyway, that's part of the thing.
Yeah. Oh, mate. And, I listened to a podcast with Paul Haslam the other day. I've just gone through a cancer thing, and I've just had a lot of radiation. I had my prostate removed and I had radiation and everything else. And because I still train now. I'm 71 years old. I've got a gym out in my backyard and I still train. I do a lot of leg stuff. And Paul said, yeah, legs are the most important exercise that a man can do or anyone can do, especially in age, because as soon as you lose your mobility, you go downhill from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Max Vax O2, the getting your oxygen in.
Yeah.
I still do. I walk 10Ks every morning.
Awesome.
And I'm 71. I'm 72 very soon. But I was doing that right. I've just stopped walking because I've just got really sick again on this flu, and I've got to have a shoulder reconstruction because my brain doesn't know that I'm 71 years old. I was doing this incline bench press the other week, and I tore my rotator cuff, and that was just because I was lazy and I dropped the weights like that.
Yeah.
Bench press. I went to put the weights down.
Yeah.
Just tore the whole front. Yeah. But I'm really impressed, mate. What age are you right now, Matt?
54, 3 days ago, whatever it was. No, a week ago. Yeah.
Happy birthday. But mate,
54.
you're in good nick. You're in really
Yeah, I
good
do my best. I still take gear. I take. It depends when. Like through winter, I take about 2 mil of Sustanon 250, and then spring summer I take 3 mil, and I take some Mastron spring summer as well. But that's it.
You're doing the H.
No, I tried it quite a long while ago. I found it. I don't know. I just didn't need it. And it was expensive for what it was. Like I just didn't rate it. It's like peptides. I took peptides for a long time as well. I don't really rate them. So I just like the test.
Everyone's different. Everyone's work. I took HGH back in '99. I had a bad bike accident in 2000, and I took the HGH for the repair because I had a double compound fracture. My whole leg was broken right off.
Yeah, wow.
I put it back together, and I got on the HGH. Paul put me on it. He said, "Get this stuff into you," and I healed so quickly.
Yeah,
I didn't use it for growth. I just used it for healing. And right now, I'm doing this week. I'm trying to do some PRP.
Yeah,
where they take your blood out and spin it around and inject it back into my shoulder. I'm going to try that before I get the reconstruction.
Yes. Yeah, what I found, Ronnie, absolutely, for repair and stuff. But about 10 years ago, I went into the doctors because I was not feeling great. Because I'm a real estate. We've got 10 offices, a couple of hundred people that work with us now. And I was 43. And then I was like, I just don't feel great. I feel worn out. I look terrible, by the way. I didn't take any gear for 20 years or something. And I went into the doctor's office and he goes, Matt, I don't even know how you're still standing up. You've got no testosterone, your cortisol's through the roof, your inflammation markers are so high. I walked out and I thought, I've got to do something about it because I just worked around the clock. And then I went on this gut health journey. So for the last 10 years, I've been deep into this gut health journey, but I've got to, I work really closely with a nutritionist, 40 years specializing in gut health. This other product, this superfood that I eat, a guy called Mick the Podman. So he's created this thing over last 10 years, this plant-based superfood. It's amazing. I find if you're doing all of that stuff, your body's working at optimum levels. I feel like I don't need growth or anything like that. If I wasn't doing that, I'd probably take that. I get 20 minutes of sun a day, cardio like you do, driveway walking, 20 minutes driveway walking after food. I only eat 2 meals a day. I gave up meat. I gave up gluten. I gave up dairy, gave up sugar, gave up processed food, gave up alcohol, gave up whatever else there is. But so I'm not full plant-based, but 90%. I eat sardines and eggs. They're the only two other things that I eat. But once I do all that, your body just works so good.
I've started that L-Rutri, the yogurt. It's for gut health.
Yeah.
We have to make it ourselves. We make it at home. My wife makes it for me out of the milk, and she buys the right milk. And I've only done that since I had the cancer treatment because I felt terrible after all the radiation and shit.
Yeah.
And a mate of mine, the guy that started UE Insurance, he's a really intelligent, he's a lot smarter guy than I am, mate. He came to Australia 14 years ago and started an insurance company, and now it's worth $1 billion.
Gee.
He's a really smart guy. And he brought 8 families from South Africa and started UE. And he said to me, I want you to try L-Rutri. And I'm like, what the hell is that? He said, it's a gut health yogurt. because I'm eat right, I haven't used for 40 years, blah, 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 blah. He said, yeah, but your gut health's terrible. You just had all this shit pumped into you. Now I want you to clean your body out. I said, oh, okay. I lost 8 kilos in a week
Yeah.
of rubbish.
Yeah.
Bang, gone. And
Absolutely.
I didn't change my training. I didn't change anything. It was just all the crap that my body had been hanging on to was gone within a week. 8 kilos.
That's right.
So I maintained exactly the same weight. I run on 86 kilos now all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right. Your body's the machine if you just get it working right. Exactly, Ronnie.
Because we collect cars. Him and I both love our cars. And he said, would you put unleaded fuel in a Ferrari? I said, nah, mate. He said, well, we are the Ferrari. He said, we only get one car. He said, so, you got to look after, Mate, I'm so impressed at where you've come from, because I do remember you. I remember you as a young kid. You had long blonde hair coming into the gym. You're a good-looking young fella, and see you're walking around the gym. I love seeing people succeed. I can't stand that tall poppy syndrome. People tell me I'm lucky. Fuck off. I'm not lucky. I
No.
worked my ass off.
Absolutely.
When I got clean, I did the same as you. I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
I went to the jewelry trade, and those days it was all cash 40 years ago. I went to every panel beaters, butcher shop, anything that had ethnics in it, and sold gold chains.
Yeah.
Because we made gold chain. And I was just lucky that when I say lucky, I was blessed that it was in a time when gold chains became popular. It was before the bikies were wearing them. It was before, I was wearing Petit Philippe when no one couldn't spell it.
I still can't.
Yeah. I've been wearing Rylas for as long as I've been around, because that was it. To me, when I booked into a hotel, the concierge would check me out and go, he gets upgraded.
Yeah.
When I went on the airplane and you're checking in, we're going to upgrade you, Mr. Assured. They'd be checking you out and seeing what you're wearing. And they're like, okay, you can move up in class. You can come up here, and it's just really important presentation. And you've become a master of presentation. But the thing I like about you, the integrity that you show, you do what you're saying, you say what you're doing, which is so important in the world we live in.
It is.
The world's full of bullshit.
And I think that's part of the problem with, keeping a promise to yourself. I think about it a lot these days. And, Ronnie, like back in that whole criminal world, there was a bit of a code of ethics, and even though people say criminals and things like that, it was like you're still running this lane where your word's your word. When some of the later on, like there were a lot of people come into the scene that were just, they could trust nothing they did. But there was this sort of thing. And, I was very protective of whether I was minding a prostitute or I was looking at, running someone's drugs or something. I was very protective of what I was doing, and I think I've just adopted that into the real estate world, like someone's price, for instance. Like I've got a good reputation in real estate because I'm known for protecting people's price and someone said to me yesterday, actually, even she said, the problem is that you're selling the house. She goes, you always just get the best price. So I've either got to pay a price or I don't buy the house. I'm like, yeah, I know. Whereas real estate agents, they're just known, shongsters, a lot of them, some of them.
Mate, as you're saying, I'm the buyer. 80% of the time, the real estate agent ends up by working for me.
Totally.
He should be working for the seller.
Yeah, 100%.
In the end, they end up by working for me because I manipulate them because they want their commission.
Yeah,
and I'm horrible. It's like, this is the price I'm going to pay. I know what I'm going to pay.
Yeah.
And I won't budge. So, and then as you're saying, I have a couple of real estate agent girls up here. I can't buy off them.
Yeah, for sure.
They've got too much integrity and they won't prostitute the price. And they love me. They sell for me, but I can't buy off them.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's what I was saying with integrity, everything you do. So whether it's last night it might sound like a little thing, Ronnie, but driveway walking, I do it with my daughter a lot of the time because, I've got a 2-year-old, but after the meal at night, I go for 20-minute walk because it's great for your digestion, lowers your blood sugar, does a whole lot of things, gets you ready for sleep. It's like the activation thing. Japan's been doing it for hundreds of years. And it sounds like a very little thing, but last night I got home, the middle kids come and stay every week, and then we went out to dinner, and I'm a bit limited with what I can eat when I go out, but I do eat a bit more oily stuff and things like that. But I put them all to bed and got them all ready, and then I'll try to get to bed by 9 o'clock every night by 9. But I had to do driveway walking at 9 last night, but I was still in my work clothes. Might sound like a little thing, Ronnie, a little thing, but most people wouldn't do it. Cold, it's late, you're in your work clothes, you're tired, you're this and that. But I did it because if you can't keep a promise to yourself, how on earth can you keep one to somebody else? And it's something I live by now. And I've just upped my goals for my body. I want the best body by 55. So I've got 12 months to do that. And I've just got to picture what that looks like. Maybe 9% body fat is my healthy level. I used to be 6, it's too low. 14%, you bit love handle. So it's in there somewhere. But I got at 54, you got to live a certain way every day. You can't. There's these. You know what really cracks me up, Ronnie, when they say cheat meals. Oh, do you have a cheat meal? I'm like, no. Why would I have a cheat meal? Because they're like, oh, let yourself. I don't want to let myself off. Think of the name of it: cheat meal, cheat day, cheat day. Yeah, it's like I don't want to be that. I want to be disciplined, focused, and consistent. So it's like these little tiny things, Ronnie, when no one's looking. They're the real tests, I reckon. Not when you're in the gym and there's 100 people in there and you turn up at 6 o'clock at night. Anyone can do that, go. But when those moments when you're like, I don't want to get in that ice bath. I don't want to do breathing. I don't want to do this. But you turn up and you do it every day. I reckon that's where champions are made.
100%. The 1%.
The 1%.
Yeah. Tradesmen hate working for me because I'm meticulous. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And
I was just going to say that just before. You're right. That's a saying I live by.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And tomorrow problems are not tomorrow problems. They're today's problems that you're putting off.
That's it.
Procrastination and masturbation are the same thing. You're screwing yourself. I have all these little sayings that I say all the time. And
steal that one.
Yeah, mate. You can use that one. It's a beauty. I love that one. And my favourite one is, if you think you got willpower, next time you got diarrhea, don't have a crap. See how that works out for you, These are the smart-ass comments I make to people who give me I'll just stop on willpower. And I say, oh, yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Next time you got the crap, don't crap, And it's like they go like, oh, because I love honesty. I love rawness. And, mate, I really, really do appreciate you coming on. I know you're a busy man.
Pleasure.
And I respect that, mate. I really do.
Pleasure.
And, mate, the one thing that I always ask, for the young people, what do you wish someone had told you at 17 that you had have listened to?
All good things take time. So all good things take time, whether it's health, relationship, wealth, anything, anything. You don't want it to go too good too quick. And if it does, it's not right. It's not. That's that thing. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. It actually is.
100%.
It's like have a 20-year goal. And when I say a goal, like just do the things. You got a daily formula that's going to take you. So if you want a goal over here, you got some steps. Those steps, if you stick to them, guarantee the goal. Literally guarantee. You just got to talk to someone who knows what they're talking about so you can put the steps together. So never talk to someone who hasn't been there before, who's never done it before. There's so many frauds out there. Put your daily formula together and then stick to it and never, ever let yourself off. Ever. Unless you're sick, fine. Rest. But never, ever let yourself off. And long-term view. I wish I knew that when I was younger because I was in such a breaking neck hurry to get everywhere. But it all happens down there, Ronnie, if you stick to it.
Yeah, my business partner's a very smart guy, but he's not quite 40 yet. So he's still got that. He wants to push everything. We buy a building and he wants to refinance straight away. And I go, stop, settle down, It's like the old bull and the young bull, Let's run.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
No, I'd say it.
Let's run down and have sex with one of them cows. And the old bull says, no, let's walk down and have sex with them all.
Yeah.
And that's true. I'm the old bull, and it's like, settle down. It's all good, My business partner's, mate, he's been a blessing for me. Very smart with finance. I'm the bad cop that's very principled. Everything has to be black and white. The tradesmen have got to answer to me. The tenants have got to answer to me because he's still...
You're the enforcer.
Yeah. And I'm 5'7", 86 kilos. He's 6 foot something. You've played front row for Australia and Japan and in Union in America. And he's a giant and he's super fit. He never lets himself off.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. And he loves you. He says, oh, mate, I can't believe you're going to, do an interview with Matt, and I've got another lady friend of mine, Jenny. She's like, I love Matt, and Jen's into real estate up here because we know all the real estate agents because, I've been doing it for, 30 years now up here. And, mate, you're so respected. To me, it just shows you of your integrity. And that's a big word.
Yeah.
In 2026, most people can't spell it.
No, it's true. True.
Not do they even know what it means, but they can't even spell it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not in their vocabulary. It's not in their life. They don't understand it. Integrity. People say to me, because I talk about self-worth a lot, and so do you. The self-worth comes from doing worthy things.
Yes, it does.
And worthy things are not letting yourself down.
That's
It
right.
doesn't matter what you think about me. It's what I think about me.
Yeah, 100%. Keeping your word, Ronnie, is the greatest power in the universe, I reckon.
100%, mate. Honesty,
Yeah.
integrity, and loyalty to yourself will then duplicate into everything we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Okay, where can people follow you on your journey? Find your book, because I know you've written a book.
Oh yeah, they're just easy reads. Don't worry about buying them. They're there, but it's like I don't even know where it is, to be honest. It's like, but just jump on Instagram. You find me easy.
Yeah, sweet, mate. Good. I wrote a book. I wrote a book and I called it "Born into the Lie of Crime." I'll get one sent to you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Text me an address to send it. I'll sign it for you and send it over to you. It's
Awesome.
my life story. It goes up to 2022.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you,
mate. Thank you very much for coming on The Truth About Addiction. That's my wife's clothing brand, Two Wolves.
Fantastic.
That's, you know what that is? That's your positive and your negative in your brain.
Yes.
The one that says don't get up and train. The one that says shut the fuck up, I'm training. The one that says it's too cold. The other one says you're a wuss.
Totally.
One won't help. One won't hurt. It'll kill me.
Yes.
Because we all have that. Even people that aren't addicts have that same brain.
For sure.
And the one you feed that says the one you feed is the one that will grow. So if you're feeding love, integrity, and kindness, we're all going to be better off. Thank you, Mat Steinwede, for your beautiful time.
Thanks, Ronnie.
I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.